let's go for some details. So I'll show this in slow motion. So after you stab, what you want to do is have your left foot pivot on the heel after you do this block here. So this is a block like we always do, slightly downward angle with the point of the saber. Left foot pivots on the heel as the left hand comes up. You're going to transfer your weight as you pass the saber overhead, and then your right foot touches the left foot, your legs close as you finish bringing the saber together. Then you step and you drag the other foot, step again, drag the left foot, but instead of pausing, continue. So when you do this movement here, again, at first, it's going to be relatively easy going towards the corner, but you have to go forward. You have to actually jump, not at first, but eventually. You see that I'm jumping. It needs to be a dynamic movement. Same part here, this all needs to be dynamic and jumping towards the direction that you're going. So showing it here again, you can see that I'm covering distance as soon as I do the jump. And if you notice from where I started, I cover a lot of ground continuously going from the left to the right side of your screen. And from here, to not go out of frame, see how much I have to back up to show you how the jumping part works. And here you can see my left forearm is in a better position. So the key point, once again, is I've got the saber, using that as a shield, keeping my left arm behind it, controlling the saber, giving it more stability with my left hand, and his weapon is right here. So he is stabbing that way, and I am basically defended by my saber as I use it as a shield to stay behind. Most importantly is that you don't stay here. If you pause at this position, he will be able to counter. The key is as soon as you manage to defend, that's when you go at him. If you pause, if you hesitate, he will have time to attack you again, and you've done all that work of defending yourself for nothing then. So what is important to understand is, once again, my student is taking his time, allowing me to do the techniques just so I can demonstrate it. Again, this is an instructional video. This is not an actual application trying to get as close as possible to real life. Because in real life, what would happen is that as soon as he misses, he's going to try to pull back his spear and stab me again, probably as he steps back and tries to create distance. I cannot allow him to do that. So in real life, as soon as you manage to step off to the side, you will immediately go after the attacker. Already there. So we practice in disadvantageous positions in which we don't have a good stance, a good orientation, or we don't have a lot of time to do things. So what he tries to do here is he will try to stab me in the back or the back of the head. So that means that I have to defend with, in this case, my left arm, because it takes too long for my saber to come around. I don't have that time. So what I'll try to do is several things. So as he comes forward, I duck underneath and I try to grab. So let's try that again. So I'm going to try to make sure that as he attacks, I duck, and I have several options. So why do we duck? Well, if I bring my head down here and at the same time I try to make sure that either his spear cannot come down or I hit it so it... An example of that you can't really remove something that is old unless you know why. So, and this has to do with true transmission in the sense that there's many things that at first when you train you not necessarily understand, and then you need a teacher to explain it to you before you remove it, before you think, oh, that's useless. You need to learn correctly first. There's two parts. There's explanation, teacher can explain things to you, and then there's written material, or in our case, video archive, which is what I do. So you can read and watch, or somebody can explain it to you. In my opinion, you need both. This is one of the reasons why I do these Q&A videos, so I can expand and explain things as opposed to you only watch the video or you read a book. Now, the other aspect is that if you only do one of them, it becomes difficult. if you do both, you get the best result. And typically in Chinese martial arts, there will be direct instruction from a teacher. So you don't necessarily start there. You have to go to Bai Chi. So Bai Chi is ritual initiation. You have to be accepted as a student. But the idea is that you will have a teacher, and there is this contract, not a literal one, but it means that if you are accepted as a student, the teacher basically makes a commitment that they will teach you correctly, as providing that you listen to them and you want to learn. So there's like an agreement that is made that the teacher says, you're now my student and I will teach you correctly, and we get back to true transmission, which is what that means. And that encompasses everything, all the than you would in the other case. So muscular tension is not wrong per se. Too much of it is wrong. Now, the opposite end of that scale is when people overly focus on that and they have too little tension. So they become too soft. And this is often an issue if you want to use Tai Chi Chuan, as we do, as a self-defense system. Then you need to avoid being too soft, because you won't have time to develop the muscular contraction before the opponent attacks you, and or your technique will crumble because of the impact when somebody actually tries to punch you very hard. So you want to have the right amount of tension, not too much, not too little. In large part, this will happen if you have correct